Hey everyone, so I wanted to get back into another projector demo for you. I want to talk about the various options that we have if we want to output many different channels of video simultaneously in real time, have them all being synced. So we could think of, maybe you have a single laptop that is the kind of master controlling everything, and you want to have two or three or four projectors or video monitors in an installation. So how do you actually do that? Um, so there's a few options. Some are simple, some are more complicated, some are cheap, some are very expensive. So I just want to give you kind of a lay of the land for what our options are. I'll do three different videos in these three different parts. So part one, probably we are all familiar with it to a certain extent already. It's just extending displays. So whether you're on a Mac or a PC, it's pretty easy to do that. And we can see I already have, let me turn on my other webcam here. Hello. So this is my iMac, and I've got it connected to this second monitor over here. We can see it's running OBS. Right, so that means my system is, the displays are extended. So if I go back here, and we access that, let me just hide that for a second. Displays, and then we see that in arrangement. So this is my iMac right here, and this is my second monitor. Actually it's not called extending, we just have this mirror displays check. So if that's unchecked, that means it will be extended. It'll be two unique areas. If I mirror, there we go. And then we see, actually let me go back to Logitech here. So now we see those are the same. So not too, it's not rocket science, not too shocking. Hopefully OBS doesn't get all messed up because of that. Let me go back here, gather windows, arrangement. Okay. Now turn that off. Okay, now we're back. Okay. So that's pretty simple. My iMac here only has a single display port in the back. That's pretty common. There's other systems, particularly PC systems, that might allow you to have a lot more displays coming out of your computer. So I can only have one coming out with this, but I also have an Alienware PC laptop. It's a gaming. It's one of these laptops that like lights up with all these rainbow colors. It's super annoying. I just like turn that off because it's kind of cheesy. But I love it because if we look in the back here, we can see several different video output ports. So that's just normal Ethernet. So really we're looking at number 2, so mini display port. So that's the same as what's on the back of my iMac, or it's common for a Mac. And then there's an HDMI output. So already with these two, we can imagine, okay, great. So I could have two projectors. One is directly connected to HDMI. One is a display port, which then you would have some sort of adapter to go from that to HDMI or whatever. But then also we have this number 4 is a Thunderbolt 3 USB Type-C port. So I want to maybe focus a little bit on, there's often confusion, like I have been confused in the past, definitely, of does Thunderbolt 3, is that this equal to USB Type-C? It's not equal. It's the shape of the USB-C, but the cool thing with Thunderbolt 3 is that Thunderbolt 3 enables you to connect to an external display using a display adapter. So a normal, just a USB port that happens to be this Type-C, doesn't mean that you can connect a display to it, but because this, like USB Type-C is really just it's the physical form of it, and Thunderbolt 3 is speaking more to its capabilities. So there's slight differences in how those things are used. So if I show you, actually, let's get back here. Let's turn on the webcam again. Okay, here we go. So I have this. This is it's an IO Gear Thunderbolt 3 to dual 4K HDMI adapter. And I'm forgetting how much I paid for this now. I think it was over $50. I'm pretty sure. So it's not cheap, but you can see right there. There's two HDMI's. If you can see in the lighting, and hello. And so right here is just the normal. That's a Thunderbolt 3. We can see the little lightning. I guess that's Thunderbolt with the number 3. So it's kind of showing that even though this has the form of USB-C, it's also Thunderbolt 3. So you know for sure that it is capable of being a display adapter. So what that means, if I have something like this, let's just go back to the screen. Okay. What that means is with this one laptop, I've got the actual screen on the laptop, and then I could connect 4 different projectors or monitors with these outputs here. So that's pretty great. So that's just like the physical hardware that enables you to do that. Then of course we have the question of, can the GPU, is it powerful enough to run that many displays simultaneously? If I was running 4K on all of these, it would get like really low frame rate. It would kind of lag, right? So it's just extra work on your GPU. So even though it's physically possible to connect it, it might not actually be possible, just depending on how powerful the GPU is. Also, if I remember correctly, the Thunderbolt connects to, so on this laptop, if we go down, where's under specs, video, there we go. So it's very common, most systems have what's called an integrated video card and a discrete video card. So what that means is the integrated, and so Intel HD, this is also on like MacBooks that I've seen before. So this is actually it's integrated into the motherboard, so it's not a separate thing. Whereas discrete is, if you might have seen pictures of, actually with the Core Archangel thing that I showed last Friday, for instance, right? These like NVIDIA GeForce GTX GPUs, they're like, like a big rectangle, right? So it's separate, it's discrete. So of course the discrete ones are going to be the really powerful ones. So like NVIDIA is kind of the dominating force on the market right now. I remember in the past on a MacBook, there were some other little apps we could use to see, okay, which one is being used. Normally, if you're just using, like, browsing the web or using some word processor to display the video like on your screen, it's only going to be using the integrated. It doesn't need the extra muscle power. But once you start a program like After Effects or Touch Designer, the computer will automatically turn on the discrete GPU in order to use that extra power. So that's something that's happening behind the scenes. But if we go back here, there's a graph somewhere on the actual control panel on this computer. But HDMI and Thunderbolt are connected to the NVIDIA GPU, but this mini display port is connected to the integrated video card, the Intel HD. So there will be differences in performance with these different ports, but it's pretty great to still just have the ability to connect up to 4 displays from a single laptop. So that is an overview. Just be in mind, maybe if you're ever buying a new computer, it's something to keep in mind. You might want to look up the number of possible displays. Definitely the NVIDIA GPUs are the ones to look for. So PCs are typically more powerful in this sense than MacBooks actually. So that's part 1. Okay.